7:30 on 9.
Welcome back. Well, Prime Minister Scott Morrison is expected to unveil sweeping changes to the GST in a bid to shore up crucial seats in Western Australia. Treasurer Josh Frydenberg joins me now from Melbourne. Good morning, Treasurer.
Good morning, Carl.
Gee whiz, it's going to cost you a lot to buy WA at the next election?
Well, it's not about just WA, it's about the fairness of the GST system going forward, and it's clearly unsustainable to have one state only getting 30 cents in the GST dollar. So what we are going to do is to legislate a floor of 75 cents in the dollar for any state or territory. We're going to provide an additional $9 billion, and as a result, every state and territory will be better off as a result of our reforms.
Come on, we all know it's to buy WA, though.
Look, the system is unsustainable in WA. You know, if you're sitting there, you might feel happy about the West Coast Eagles win, but you don't feel happy about getting 30 cents in the GST dollar. And we need to ensure that the system is fair going forward, and only then does everyone get a better deal. And now it's up to the Labor Party to follow our lead, to support our legislation, and to see all Australians in every state and territory better off.
You might still have some dramas getting it through, though.
I'm not so sure about that. Bill Shorten, just a few weeks ago, was in WA saying he wants to support us in legislating it. So let's just now see if he walks the talk.
There are deep concerns this morning moving on about spiralling household debt. I know you're keeping your eye on it, but you don't seem that concerned.
Look, we are focused on household debt, but the assets households have is 5 times their debt levels. And because interest rates are relatively low, the servicing of that debt is at the long run average. So we do watch it closely, but we have seen the housing market come, Carl, back to more sustainable levels. We've seen some price drops in the key states of New South Wales and Victoria. But I can tell you one thing, Bill Shorten's desire to hit everyone with a new property tax, with his attack on negative gearing, will see house prices fall even further, and that means that people's biggest asset, their value in their home, will fall, and that's not a good thing for Australian families.
There are also serious concerns this morning. There'll be more random rate rises. You'd think the banks would have learnt their lesson.
Well, the banks have to borrow their money often offshore, so they have to take into account what the cost of credit is. But the banks shouldn't be increasing their interest rates because what we do know is that Australians are doing it tough in parts of the country. And what we do know is that they've recently, all but NAB, recently increased their interest rates. So while we understand the cost of credit sometimes puts upward pressure, we don't expect them to be putting it up anytime soon.
OK, Labor is saying the Commission needs more time to hear from other victims. Do you agree? Does it need to be extended, the Banking Commission?
Well, we've said if the Royal Commissioner asks for more time, Carl, then we will give it. There's no doubt about that. But he's received some 9,000 submissions. He's read them all, and he has said that he wants to get on with the job very promptly. This is anybody who's read this 1,000-page report can see how rigorous and comprehensive the work of the Royal Commissioner is. And when you read the report, it's a frank and scathing assessment of the culture and the compliance in our banking system.
And to think you weren't going to have one.
What's that?
And to think you weren't going to have one.
No, we had absolutely initiated, support this Royal Commission, but I think everyone has been shocked by some of the revelations, including fees to dead people or fees for no service, unacceptable conduct, which the regulator, ASIC, needs to stamp out.
OK, another significant pressure this morning is petrol. The ACCC is saying we're paying, on average, about 4 cents a litre more than we should be. They say it's, quote, unexplained. Anything you can do to help there?
Well, the ACCC needs to be the cop on the beat there, and if they make any recommendations to government, then of course we will favourably consider those. But what we understand about our petrol market is that it is driven to some extent by what happens overseas with the Australian dollar, but also with global oil prices. But if companies here are ripping off consumers, then we'll take action.
OK, finally, Chris Uhlmann has an exclusive after 7 o'clock this morning. I haven't heard this, but apparently Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull has had plenty to say in a recording in New York about the government. He's been, by the looks of it, pretty brutal by the sounds of it. Don't you think it's time the former Prime Minister packed up his wickets and went home?
Oh, look, it's a pretty challenging situation to be Prime Minister one day and not the next. But what we have seen through the strong economic numbers that the government has released, Carl, that he can take a lot of credit for that.
And must be still scratching his head as to why he's not there anymore.
Well, look, the party room spoke. As you know, I stuck with Malcolm Turnbull to the end, but the party room spoke. We're getting on with it, and Scott Morrison's made a fantastically strong start.
Treasurer, thanks for your time this morning. Appreciate it.
Good to be with you, Carl.
Okay.